What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Fisker. I want to go over some of the current data points, what came out after hours on Friday, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So when I last did my video, I think it was roughly about a week and a half ago, a lot of the data points were looking primed and ready for a nice breakout, as what happened with a lot of growth stocks and EV stocks. But Fisker was just flat, as you can kind of see. And this was something I also did allude to in my last couple of videos, is just a manipulation and what short's intention was. So it's going to piece together what I'm going to talk on in this video. But on Friday, Fisker did go down 3.45%, 27.01 million shares being traded, 41.4 is the average. And so a lot of the volume from Friday has been algorithmic trading. So you can tell a lot of the barcoding and whatever else. And that's been the case for, I guess, most of 2024. But surprisingly, there was a lot of things coming out on Fisker's behalf Friday after hours, which is kind of abnormal. So you do see two things, one very positive thing and one somewhat negative thing. And it was the negative thing, that's something that I did say was coming, as largely due to shorts. But let's start off with the positive. So the positive news was Fisker signs new dealer partners in US as strategic business shift continues. So this is something that they've been laying down the foundation for I think the greater part of a month, give or take. So I think this should be fairly good for Fisker. A lot of optimism associated to this, but still, I feel like big money is waiting for some actual results. So this is why they haven't really committed all that much, especially considering right here, these are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000. So there's only been two over this last little bit on January the 11th and January the 22nd. So big money has been very hesitant about getting into Fisker. So hopefully this does come with it some pretty good results, and in turn you're going to see a lot of big money rushing towards Fisker, especially considering right now, looking at Stochastic, it is at 12, so it is considered oversold. So if there is a good piece of news that does come out, you're going to see a rush of value investors. So a lot of the news that's been coming out regarding Fisker is good stuff, not to discredit it, but we need results. And so plain as day, that's why this hasn't really done all that much. This did actually offset the negative news. So for those of you that have been watching my channel, I've been saying this for like a month and a half. And that was the fact that they were going to get a delisting notice sooner rather than later. I think I was off by 1 day, give or take. But ultimately, this did come out, so it looks like the New York Stock Exchange is set to really delist Fisker. But they do have 10 days to really come out with their intention. 9 times out of 10, or I guess even more so, 10 out of 10 times, a company's plan to rectify the deficiency is a reverse stock split. You can kind of go over here. So far, Fisker has been one of those companies, EV companies, that have not done any reverse stock splits. But it is a very fine line, because once they do actually announce a shareholder meeting to propose and pass a reverse stock split, then this is where shorts will really start to double down, and it gets very scary. So you need Fisker to hit a home run operationally to offset that potential reverse stock split. That's just my own opinion, of course. Right now, Fisker isn't profitable, so they can't really do a buyback to cause the stock price to go up as a result of that. So usually companies just result in, or kind of lean on, a reverse stock split. But they do have 6 months to rectify this deficiency. If they do fail to do that, this is where they're going to get booted off. So it's one of those things, this was short's plan all along. Even with that recent rally that did happen, that caused it to go up like 30-something%, the very first thing I said, the fact that it failed to stay above that and it kind of got pulled back down, was the fact that shorts were manipulating it and wanting it to be below that $1 mark. I have been saying this for a very long time. Some people may have not really liked that, but I always like to say it how it is. And even if it's negative, positive, negative, whatever, I just say the data points how they are. So in reality, is this something to be worried about? Possibly. Again, I think that you need to look at what the company is putting out operationally rather than focusing on this, because it is going to be the operational updates that is going to really drive it and cause it to go up higher and get shorts out. So it's just going to be one of those things that comes sooner rather than later. And so most likely you are going to see a shareholder meeting, so an emergency shareholder meeting announced probably next week. And one of the proposals is going to be a reverse stock split. Most likely, if I'm giving an estimate as far as the ratio, it'll probably be a 1 for 50 at least, but what do I know, right? I'm not a financial advisor. Based on Friday though, shorts did increase 1.01 million shares. 28.16% of the free float is being shorted. 112.26 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is 242.44%. Just looking right here, you can see based on this. So it is on the threshold list. It looks like it's been on the threshold list ever since February the 13th. So when it comes to the threshold list, if a company is on there for 13 consecutive trading days, this is where, in theory, the SEC should interject and really do something about it. But in the past, they haven't really done all that much. Looking at Interactive Broker short availability does indicate around 250,000 shares is available to be shorted. And I just wanted to kind of break it down. There hasn't been any recent analyst ratings, but the latest Morningstar report does show a fair market value for Fisker being $1.63. So in reality, that's a kind of a good thing. Also on a side note, if you're looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as analyst ratings, forecasts for upcoming earnings, everything that you need to know, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all of this information to be completely free. I have a link to them in the description below and also the comments. Moving on though, let's talk on options. So $259,000 in calls being purchased versus $272,000 in puts. Dollar value has dropped quite significantly compared to the 2 weeks prior, but then again, that's kind of normal for Fisker, especially based on the stock performance. Sentiment wise, this is more of a positive note. 52% of all the options being done on Friday were optimistic and bullish. And just looking at the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above $1 by the end of, it looks like, the next couple of weeks. So that's kind of a positive thing. And then looking at puts, obviously it's anticipated to be sub $1. Looking right here at the technicals though, with it at 73 cents right now, or just slightly above that, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So 74.5 is ultimately going to be that next strong resistance, and then 72.5 is going to be that next strong support. And coincidentally, this is that 52 weekend all-time low. So if it does break below this, then you just have to watch for that 69-cent mark to really hold. And I think if it does break below these points, then definitely it is going to continue a very vicious death spiral. But based on what did happen after hours on Friday, obviously the market was trying to digest both things, so the positive news and also the delisting. But despite that though, it did close after hours 0.51% in the green. So that might be a little bit more optimistic going into next week. And Monday is a holiday, so it's going to be kicking off on Tuesday. So Fisker is definitely not out of the fear, or it still does have more potential downside coming. But at the end of the day though, it could definitely pull itself out with some pretty good operational updates. So let me know your thoughts on Fisker. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Fisker? And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. So simply sign up for an account with Moon, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.